For the midterm, we have the homeowner expenses calculator. I started my code off by declaring two functions that I created called positive input and get months. Positive input, this function will be inputted into every output statement just to verify that the number inputted will be a positive number. So of course, it'll be paired with the prompt and then inputted with the value. And then if the value is less than 0, which is a negative number, you'll get a message telling you to re-enter a positive number. And then for get months, this is my function to retrieve the amount of months you're calculating for. And these are some parameters I set. These are going to be invalid months, so obviously months only range from 1 through 12. So if you enter something less than 1 or greater than 12, you're going to be prompted to re-enter a valid number. And then, of course, to actually start our expenses calculator, we have our get months function that will be outputted, and then we're going to calculate the total amount of months, which will be the start month. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Which would be the end month minus the start month plus 1. That way that if you're only calculating for 1 month, you'll still have that 1, for example. It's like if you're doing only for month 2, your start and end is going to be month 2, so that's going to be 0 plus 1. It's going to get your 1 month. Anyways, for rent and home insurance, I kept these simple because they're fixed amounts. You'll just enter the amount of rent that you paid per month. That would get stored under rent. And then you enter the amount of rent that you have for your budget. That would get stored under rent budget. Same thing for your insurance. Enter how much you paid for insurance will get stored under that. Enter how much your insurance budget is will get stored under that. For the utilities, excuse me. For the utilities, since this value can vary by month, and if you're calculating for multiple months, I used a for loop. That way you're able to enter different amounts per month. So of course, you'll be asked for your monthly budget again. And then for the for loop, I've set the utility amount to 0, obviously. And essentially what this for loop will do is it will ask you for the specific amount you spent during the month. So you're going to ask to enter your total spent on utilities during month. And this part actually will take the month that you're calculating for and it will input it into the string versus like putting a mathematical expression here and trying to convert it on display. This will actually put it inside the string. So that just makes it a bit easier to read and to code. So of course you'll be asked that for each month according to the for loop. And then for maintenance, this is calculated in kind of a lump sum. So if you're calculating for several months, instead of entering the maintenance per month, you'll just enter how much you spent during the amount of months, and then you enter your budget for the period. Same thing for renovation. This will be calculated in a lump sum. You'll enter how much you spent during the period, and then your budget for that period. For groceries and restaurants, once again, this is an amount that can change per month. So you'll be asked to enter your monthly budget. And then same thing for the utilities. You'll be asked to enter the specific amount you spent per month. Same thing for restaurants as well. You have that monthly budget and then the same for loop that I use for groceries and utilities that will get the specific amount you spent per month. And so once all your expenses and all your budgets are inputted, the total amount that you spent and the total budget is calculated. And of course, this is done by multiplying rent and insurance by the total months, and only rent and insurance, because if you're calculating for multiple amount of months, the total months calculation isn't up here, so that's why I inputted it into this function. Of course, plus your total utility, total maintenance, total renovation, total groceries, total restaurants. And then same thing for your budget. Rent and insurance budget calculated by your total months. your lump sum budget, so utility, maintenance, renovation, and then grocery budget and restaurant budget by your total months. Now this part is where you get your little summary kind of. Um, Set precision is just for formatting purposes. This will tell you how much you spent. This will tell you your total budget. Now this part will tell you if you overspent or if you saved. So if your budget if your spent exceeded your budget, then you overspent. And it'll tell you how much you overspent by subtracting your budget from your spent amount. And of course, if you save money, it'll also tell you that too by subtracting your spent amount from your budget amount. And I use an if else only because there's two outcomes, overspent or underspent. So if you overspent, you'll get this. If you underspent, you'll get that. And if you did overspend, it will tell you which amount you overspent on by comparing your budget to your expense. So for example, if you overspent on groceries, it will tell you your spent amount on groceries, which is greater than your total grocery budget for the amount of months you spent. And that same thing for any of the expenses. So yeah, that's pretty much it.